When I think about math in modern society, I can't think of a more relevant topic than finance. Finance is something that you basically encounter every single day of your life, and in some ways, it has like major impacts on your life. A lot of people, their day to day is driven by money. And so we want to talk a little bit about how to understand finance. You're not going to become like a financial genius as a result of this class, but hopefully you can understand a little bit more of the terminology that banks, credit card companies, and anybody who's got a sale going or anything like that is throwing at you along the way. So that's going to be our goal. So the first section when we're talking about finance is percentages. Percentages show up all the time in the financial world. And they're the thing that I think makes finances the most complicated for people. I think if you get a firm understanding of percentages, then all of a sudden the rest of the finance stuff, like it might have some weird words thrown at it, but it's stuff that you can kind of comprehend and kind of weave your way through. So without further ado, let's get into some percentages. So the first part of understanding what a percent is to kind of think about the word. So percent. If we look at the word percent, you have per and cent. I pronounced it breaking it up for a reason. So whenever you see the word per, you should be thinking each, or in math, what this is telling us to do is divide. Whenever you see cent, think century, or like a cent, a penny is a cent, though that's 100. So whenever we're looking at percents, we're going to be dividing the number by 100. So if I see something like 3%, then I should be thinking 3 divided by 100. And when I do that, I get 0.03. And so this is the decimal form of the percent. All right, and this is the percent form, obviously, hopefully. And if I had written, instead of saying 3 divided by 100 and going to decimal form, another option is I could have said 3 over 100. And this is the fraction form. So whenever you see a decimal, you can, or a percent, you can convert it to a decimal or a fraction, or you can leave it as a percent. Either way, when we're doing math with it, a lot of times we're going to have the decimal form or the fraction form be our preferred way of working with it. If you like fractions, the fraction form's fair game. If you really don't like fractions, the decimal form is fair game. I will rarely tell you that you have to use one or the other when you're doing computations. Every once in a while, I'll ask you, though, to show it as a decimal or a fraction, just to make sure that you're keeping that connection going. So as a teacher, one of the ways that I use percents a lot is in giving you grades. And when I'm writing a test, I don't necessarily make it be out of 100 points, or if I am, I'm thinking about like what percentage each problem is of the test. So if you find yourself in a teaching position, or even as a student, and you have some kind of test, say it's out of, made some spare marks there, say it's out of 25 points, and you get 20 of those 25 points. 20 out of 25 might be a number that doesn't mean a ton to you. So, because we function in percents when we think about grades. So one of the things that you can do is you can convert it to percent. So in order to do that, you might divide it. You might divide 20 by 25 and go through that long division. You also might notice that 25, if I multiplied it times 4, would be 100. And so if you remember back to getting common denominators in fractions, if you multiply the denominator by a number, we also have to multiply the numerator by that same number. So if I multiply by 4 over 4, it's the same as multiplying by 1, so I'm allowed to do that legally. So 20 times 4 is going to be 80. So I actually have 80 out of 100, which is 80%. All right, so I had two different separate equations going to get my numerator and my denominator, and I put it together to get that percentage. So that's one way that we can end up with percentages. Another place that we see percentages show up a lot is in tipping. So when you go out to eat, say you have a bill that comes to $23.50, and that's how much you're going to pay for your meal. But then we like to tip waiters and waitresses. And so a lot of times people tip 20%. That's like the high end, they were a great server, right? So if I want to give a 20% tip on my bill, then what I do is I take the amount. So I'm going to take my $23.50 and I multiply it times the amount that I want to tip as a decimal. So I could take 20% and it changes to a decimal of 0.20. And when I do this multiplication, I get zeros all around there. And then I get 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times 3 is 6. With plus 1 is 7. And 2 times 2 is 4. And I have 4 places behind the decimal, so I put my decimal point there with 4 numbers behind it. So my tip is going to be $4.70. All right. Now, the tip amount is $4.70, but I don't just pay $4.70, right? If I'm going to take and pay, I need to pay the amount of the bill, the $23.50, plus my tip amount, so the $4.70. And when I pay that total, then I'm going to be paying a total of $28.20. So what I'm actually doing is paying 20% more than the bill amount. So this was 100% of the bill amount. This was 20% of the bill amount. So when I pay it all together, this is actually 120% of the bill amount that I'm paying. Yet another place that percentages show up a lot is when you're out shopping. So you'll see some percentage discounts, and then you also have to pay tax. So let's think about, say, let's keep our numbers easy this time. So say we had $20 worth of items that we were purchasing. All right, so $20 is the total normal price, the regular price. And we have a 5% off coupon. All right. And then sales tax is about 9%. All right. So we want to know, what do we pay? All right. So what we do, and it says places always take the coupon price off before they do the sales tax. So you only pay the sales tax on the coupon off amount, unless it's posted otherwise. This is the normal practice. All right. So the first thing we do is we take our $20 and we figure out what 5% of it is to figure out what our discount is. So we're going to do times 0.05, which is our decimal form of 5%. We do that multiplication, we get 0. We get 2 times 5 is 10. So 2 decimal places. So I'm going to take $1 off. So this is my discount. Discount. This is the regular price. All right, so then my new total, so the discount price is $20 minus $1, or $19. All right, so now I'm going to take my $19 and I have to pay 9% sales tax on it. So I need to figure out, this is my discount price, and I'm going to take my 9% for my sales tax rate to figure out what my sales tax is going to be. So this is going to be sales tax once I do the multiplication. So I do 9 times 9 is 81. 9 times 1 is 9, plus 8 is 17. I have 2 decimal places, so I'm going to pay $1.71 in sales tax. So if I want to know my total, I'm going to take my discount price, so my $19, plus my $1.71. And when I add that up, I get $20.71, and that's what I can expect my bill to be. All right, a final place that we see percentages and hear about them a lot is with the stock market. So you might not have any money in the stock market, but if you're listening to the radio, it's a fairly common thing that sometime in the afternoon they tell you this is what the stock market did today. And you hear these percentages and you probably just glaze over because they don't really impact you a ton. But we all know, like, the stock market being up or down is this big thing. So the stock market functions in this point system, and we're not going to get big time into that, but we're just going to think about these percentages and think about a stock market over the course of a couple of days. So say there's a stock that's worth $30. All right, so this is the price on Monday. So then Tuesday, it goes up 5% on Tuesday. It has a good day. And Wednesday, it has another pretty good day, but not quite as good. So it goes up 3% Wednesday. So then we want to know, what is the price Thursday? So one of the things that people do a lot of times when they're combining percentages is they're going to look at this and they're going to go, oh, it went up 5% and then up 3%. So it's going to go up 8% total. This is not right. Don't do that. No. Okay. So if I look at it, I have my $30 to start off. The going up 5%. So I'm going to go and figure out what that 5% increase was. So 0.05 is my decimal form, and I'm going to do that multiplication. So 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 3 is 15. 2 decimal places. So it went up $1.50 on Tuesday. So Tuesday's price was actually $31.50, adding the two together. Now, if I want to know what Wednesday's price was, I'm going to take the $31.50 that it was Tuesday, and I'm going to multiply it times the 0.03, the decimal form of my 3%, and find out what happens. So 3 times 0 is 0, 3 times 5 is 15, 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4, 3 times 3 is 9. I have 4 decimal places, so it's actually going to be 0.9450. All right, so on Wednesday, it increased 94 cents, basically. All right, so my Thursday price, so the price at the end of the day, Wednesday, was the plus 94. So Thursday, when I'm looking at what it is at the beginning of the day, it's what it was at the end of the day, Wednesday. So Thursday, I'm going to have 31.50 plus 0.94 cents. Got this lined up horribly. There we go. All right, 945. All right, and we'll talk about that 5 in a second. So adding this up, I've got 5, 4, 14, 2, 3. All right, so I actually have $32.44.5. All right, a lot of times what happens when you have fractional cent is you round it up. So we would actually say that we have about $32.45. All right, so that's what we have on Thursday. So one of the things that you might want to know is I said that it didn't go up 8%, not to fall for that trap. But we might be curious, how much did it actually go up? So if you want to know how much it went up, you would take that new price, so $32.45, we'll say, and subtract our original price, so $30, and we'll get $2.45 is how much it went up. All right, so this is the increase. So if I want to know what percent that is, I have to take, and I'll do $2.45 divided by $30. So this looks like the test example, right? Where you have not quite as, you don't have it out of 100, but you want it out of 100. So you want to change it to be that, or you can do the long division. So in this case, I'm going to do the division. $2.45 divided by 30. If I do that, I get 0.081, and then I've got a whole bunch of 6s repeating themselves. All right, so percentages, remember, I go 2 decimal places for my percent, and then beyond that, it's decimals, right? So if I want this in percent form, I get 8.16 repeating percent, so I might round that to 8.17% increase. So that's actually more than the 8% that we were tempted to say it. And the reason for that is because when we were looking at it, the 3%, actually part of the increase on Tuesday gets increased by that 3% as well. So the increase on Tuesday gets increased by the increase on Wednesday. So we can't just add percentages the way we might want to. And that's true whenever we're trying to combine percentages in any way. We kind of have to do it one at a time to figure it out along the way.